and Merry Christmas. Oh, Christmas. Christmas is a lovely time for families, isn't it? I took my mum shopping. My mum's in a wheelchair. We went into a department store. I went to the disabled toilet within the department store. And my mum did a wee, and I thought, well, I'll have a quick wee as well. But I knew I needed to fart at the same time. The toilet was on a very busy thoroughfare, a lot of people going past that door. So I said to my mum, I said, do us a favour, mum. She said, what? I said, clap. I don't know why I said that. I thought the noise would drown it out. But also, I am very comfortable with applause. This is my job, after all. So she did. She went like this. She did one. I said, how good do you think my timing is, mum? The problem we had is when she clapped, the lights went off. But luckily, I did a big loud fart and they came back on again. I've got one sister, it's just the two of us. My sister is 6 years older than me. When she was a teenager, she used to talk very slang, very Geordie slang, and my mum didn't like it, so my mum would correct her. And me being the little shitty sister, I would help. So if my sister said, I'm going out, my mum would correct her and say, I'm going out. My sister would have to repeat, I'm going out, before she was allowed to go out. And I'd just be standing beside them both saying, I'm going out, like the arsehole that I was. There was a time my sister was really ill. She had a really bad finger. She went to hospital with my mum. They came back in from A&E. And I said to my sister, what's the matter with your finger then? And she said, oh, they said it's gangrene. And I genuinely said, going green. Like I probably thought a medical doctor had gone, that's gangrene, then it's gonna ganbrune, then it's gonna fall off. Got a little dog, he's adorable. He's a rescue dog, he's very sweet. He does bark at all other dogs. That's the one problem we have with him, he will bark at all other dogs. But I just use the fact that he's a rescue, if that comes up. So say I'm out walking him and he barks at another dog, the other owner will look at me like, control your dog. And I'll just turn to her and I'll say, I'm really sorry, but he's a rescue. And then she'll turn to me and she'll say, I'm so sorry for what he's been through. The truth is, his owner died and we got him. That's what he's been through. You can't do that with blokes, can you? The bloke's fighting in a pub, you can't go, I'm really sorry, but he's a rescue. Just found him one down Debenhams on his own. And we've checked and he's not married because he hasn't been chipped. The dog hurt his paw a few months ago. Hurt his paw, so I rang the vet. It was out of hours, so I got put straight through to the vet herself. She said, what's the problem? I said, the dog's hurt his paw. She said, which paw? And I said, it's his left hand. She said, his what? I said, his left hand. She said, do you mean his foreleg? I said, I don't know. I didn't go to university like you did, Flower. To me, it's his left hand. I know what you're thinking. You think I humanise the dog. I know that's what you're thinking. Shut up, I don't humanise him, I don't. So I took his little waistcoat off and I took him to the vet. Got him all bandaged up and I brought him home. My husband was working away at the time and I thought I should probably ring him, let him know what's going on, so I did. And my husband said, what's the matter? I said, the dog's hurt his paw. My husband said, which paw? And I thought, what's the fascination with which paw? It's not like it's the one he writes with. I said it was his left hand. And my husband said, his what? I said, his left hand. He said, you mean front passenger side? The dog sleeps downstairs, his choice, he sleeps on the sofa. And then in the morning, when he wakes up, he comes up to our bedroom, and every single day he asks permission to get on the bed. He pats the side of the bed with both hands. And I wake up and I go on then. And he jumps up on the bed and sort of little spoons me, kind of lies here like this. It's very sweet. We all fall back to sleep again for another half an hour. It's adorable. The other day, though, having fallen back to sleep again, I woke up because he was growling. And I thought, what's he growling at? What's going on here? What had happened, because they're sort of loose in the night, one of me boobs had landed on his head. The dog is very little. My tits are not. Poor little bugger. He's lucky he didn't get caught between them. He'd be dead. But I like to break out the board games this time of year. Not long ago, I played a game of Jenga with some friends, and a couple of days after that I was talking to my dad on the phone. I thought I'll tell him about it. And then I thought, I don't know if my dad knows what Jenga is. He's in his 70s. I don't know when it first became popular, so I thought I'll ask him. So I said, Dad, do you know what Jenga is? And he said, yeah, like sex. I said, Jenga. He said, sex. I had so many questions, and I didn't want any of the answers. I said to him, can I ask which word you think I'm saying? And he said, yeah, gender. I was like, oh, thank Christ for that. I had a horrible idea that that's what him and my mum called it. He tried to pull himself out without toppling her over. A few months ago, I went for a bra fitting. Give us a woo if you've ever been for a bra fitting. Give us a woo if you did not enjoy it. Exactly the same people again. It's quite an odd experience, isn't it? I've been touring and asking the women in my audiences what they didn't like about their bra fitting. One lady shouted out cold hands. That's what she said. I didn't like the cold hands. And I get it, because they have to touch you at various times, and cold hands aren't very pleasant to touch, but I had to think about it. I think I prefer cold hands to warm hands. Warm hands kind of ick me out. Warm hands imply to me that they've been doing this. Ooh. Ooh, Sheila, I've seen me 10 o'clock. I cannot wait. There's another lady shouted at. I said, what didn't you like about your bra fit? And she said it was embarrassing. I said, of course it's embarrassing, Flower. But I said, was there one moment that was worse than the rest? She said, oh, yes. When I took my bra off, 2 bits of popcorn fell out. And one lady shouted out that she thought there were too many mirrors, and I get that. I think there are too many mirrors in those cubicles. Because when I went for mine, the lady said to me, and would you like to look at the back of the bra? And I thought, no. And then I thought, I wonder if I'm missing out on something. So I had a look. Turns out I've got back tits as well. I didn't know about those. Thanks for pointing them out, you cow. I'm surprised you didn't try and sell me a bra for the back ones and all. Well, I'll tell you what happened to me. So every now and again I have to have a photo shoot. Now, I hate photo shoots. I have really bad body image issues. So a photo shoot for somebody like me is a nightmare, but sometimes they're unavoidable. And I had 2 in the space of a fortnight, one for the cover of my book and one for the poster for my tour. And I had a lady who was helping me pick some clothes for the photo shoots. And I said to her, look, I don't have the time or indeed the inclination to lose any weight, but I said, could you recommend anything that might make me look a bit better? And she said, go for a bra fit. And she said, a properly fitted bra will knock pounds off you. And I said, how many bras could I wear? Front tits, back tits, arse cheeks, maybe? I don't know. The place she recommended to me was, until about 3 months ago, known as the Queen's Bra Fitter, which I find quite an odd boast, don't you? Oh, we do the Queen's bras. We do the Queen's bras here. I find that such an odd boast. I've never once watched Troop in the Colour on the telly and thought, oh, I wish I had tits like hers. I made an appointment at the place she recommended. I went along to the appointment. I went into the cubicle with the lady I'd made the appointment with, and I took off my top and I had my best bra. And you always wear your best one, don't you? I had my best bra. And that's what I said to the lady. I said, this is my best fitting bra. And she went like this. She said, that's what everyone says. I said, well, maybe that's what everyone means. Like, we didn't hit it off at all. It was eggy from the get-go. She said, what we need to do with those two, like they're separate from my person. What we need to do with those two is lift and separate. Lift and separate. I said, well, don't separate them too much, because that's what it looks like when I'm in bed. The way she was talking, it sounded like she wanted them to look like a travel pillow. She gave me a bra to try on, and I said to her, would you mind stepping out of the cubicle while I put on the bra, and then when I've got it on, I'll shout you back in. She looked utterly perplexed at this. She said, I've been doing this for 30 years. I said, well, I haven't been doing this for 30 years. And then I thought, showing my boobs to strangers, probably a good 25. But I didn't want to add it to my list of people who've seen my tits. There's not that many people on my list, just a handful of blokes and a window cleaner once by accident. So we got a bra that fit, and she tightened up the straps because I had them on comfy setting, you know, where they just sort of graze your belly. Oh, I love that. Thank God I've got a belly, otherwise I'd hit the deck. But she tightened up the straps to where they're supposed to be, and then she put one finger under the strap at the top. She put one finger underneath, and she said, this is the rule. You're supposed to be able to only get one finger under the strap. And then she looked at me for a response, I don't know why I said the following, but when she said, 1 finger, that's the rule, 1 finger, I said, oh, that's interesting, because it's 2 for a dog's collar. Why the fuck did I say that? And to make it worse, I then said, are you trying to stop me from losing my boobs in the park? Why am I still talking? Shut up. But there was one lady, and I asked her, why didn't you let your bra fit? And she was an older lady, and she said, when I took my bra off, my boobs went down like that, so they just measured me waist. Another lady said, I didn't like it because I didn't know the etiquette, and I took my bra off too early. How does that work? Was she still on the bloody bus? I was in hospital last Christmas, not for very long, not for anything serious. They gave me one of those gowns, that doesn't quite shut at the back. And then she said, the next thing we need from you is a urine sample. Give us a woo if you've ever given a urine sample. Give us a woo, those of you who are women. It's tricky, isn't it? It's tricky. She gave me a bottle with a neck like that. And I thought, well, I'll wait till she brings the funnel. No funnel came. And I thought, how am I supposed to hit that with me twin jets? Now, I don't want to tell you too much about me down there. Suffice to say, it's not a 70s bush by any means, but it's also not child bald. Put it this way, there's just enough hair to put a paedophile off. Still made this quite tricky. So I put it in position. I started me wee. Wee came out of a different area. I stopped me wee. I moved into that area. I started me wee again. Wee came out of a third area. It was like somebody was pouring juice through a hedge. I felt like I was on the cube. And then she said, the next thing we need to know is what size you are for the DVT tights, the sort of stockings you put on after you've had surgery. I said, OK. She came along with a variety of sizes. She said, we'll start with a size small. And I thought, oh, somebody's got time to kill. I was a large, personally. But I tried the small one, and they fit. I'm a small in hospital. I must have had such an odd expression on my face, because she said, are you all right? And I just went, why aren't you a shop? And then she gave me the paper knickers, the paper knickers they make you wear. My husband said, I find them quite sexy. I said, do you? Why? He said, I think I could rip them off. Just so you know, if you do a fart in them, same thing happens. Thanks for watching. It would be great. My brand new show, Bobby Dazzler, is out now and available exclusively on my website, sarahmillican.co.uk. Put the kettle on and settle in.